Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is the Jalapeño Cheddar Burger. The summer grilling season is upon us. Sorry, Southern Hemisphere friends, but here, summer burger season is coming up. So I wanted to give you guys maybe one that you haven't tried before, maybe one you have tried before, but at least you can see my take on it. We're gonna actually work some high temp cheddar cheese into our burger patties along with fire roasted jalapenos. Then we're gonna top it off with a white cheddar queso that's also got jalapeno hot sauce worked into it. A little bit of a slaw on the bottom with our Baconnaise that we showed you guys last week. There's a lot going on in this burger, so let's get into it. First thing we've got to do is blacken our jalapenos so that we can get them peeled and seeded and ready to go into that burger patty. So we've got the grill fired up. We're cooking on the Yoder YS640S today. It's running at 450 degrees, and we're gonna get this right above the flame so we can char the surface. Next, we're gonna put together a really quick slaw, but instead of cabbage today, we're gonna be using hearts of romaine. So romaine lettuce, but only the really hearty part of at the center of it. That way it actually holds its structure, kind of like cabbage would, but it's not quite the same bite as cabbage. And then the flavors around the greens are what you really notice rather than the greens themselves. So about 2 cups of our hearts of romaine. Next, we got some red onion. I'm gonna shave this really thin, so we're gonna get a little bit of that red onion bite out of it, but thin enough slices that it's not overwhelming. It just adds a little texture. I want about a 1/2 cup of really thin sliced red onion. It's almost like we're taking our burger toppings and turning them into a slaw. Next, we're going to add a couple tablespoons of pickled jalapenos, and then the star of the show, our Baconnaise. So we'll throw a 1/4 cup of our Baconnaise in here and toss it all together. Now, the Baconnaise is a condiment that we made on the channel last week. You guys can go find the recipe for it. Actually, I put it in the video description, a link to that. But it's essentially mayo made with bacon grease, and then it's got bacon worked into it as well. And since it's got bacon in it, it's got some salt in it, we really don't need to add any more seasonings. Now moving on to the burger patties themselves, we're starting with a pound of the Creekstone Farms brisket blend burger pucks. We're gonna break these up though because we're gonna be working our fire roasted jalapenos and some cheese in here. So this is our high temp cheddar. And what that means is it's not gonna immediately melt as soon as it hits the grill. It's gonna hold some structure so you get little pockets of cheese when you bite into the burger itself. Doing a 1/4 cup of that. Then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of cotija cheese, or you could use like a queso fresco or even a Parmesan. This is almost more so as a binder rather than just the cheese itself. It's gonna help hold the burger together. Next, we've got some W sauce, Worcestershire. I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of that. I'm not so good with my left hand there. And then the last thing we've got are our jalapenos, which came off the grill blackened. They've been steaming in that container there to kind of get those skins to come off easier. We'll just split this open. We're gonna get rid of those seeds, get rid of that skin, and dice it up. So now we've got this really nice tender flesh of the pepper that's also got this smoky aroma to it. Now, if you want to go a little bit milder on this recipe, you could totally do a milder pepper to put inside of this, say like an Anaheim or a Poblano. That's going to have great flavor but less heat. And I guess in that same way, if you wanted to go hotter, you know, you could throw Serranos in there instead of jalapenos, something with a little bit more heat. Now this, we're just going to give a quick mix by hand. We're not trying to melt anything, especially the fat and the beef, so we're going to move quickly. Just try to get everything distributed evenly. And then we're gonna portion these back out into 4 burger patties. So we're gonna see how much this whole thing weighs. We got about 21 ounces, so we can divide that up, 5 1/4 each. So we're getting close to a 1/3 pound. I'm just going to use a canning ring here to mold these out a little bit. Go down on a greased sheet pan and press them out just a little bit more. All right, These are getting warm, so I'm gonna go throw them in the fridge for about 10 minutes while we set up to make our cheese sauce. The burgers are ready to go on the grill, so we're gonna hit them with some seasoning. We're using the Cattleman's Grill Roadhouse steak and beef rub. Great savory flavors in here. A little cumin, a lot of like good brisket flavors. So we'll hit one side with seasoning, throw a little duck fat down. I'm gonna lay these directly on our grill grate. You notice now, and probably early when the jalapenos went on, that you've got flame coming up through the grill grates. That's because we're cooking direct, so no diffuser plate underneath. You want the fire to touch the food as much as possible. And then to the right side here, we've got our griddle where we can kind of toast off our brioche buns as the burger patties get close to done. More seasoning on the opposite side, and we'll close up the lid. So now moving on to our cheese sauce. We're gonna be using our sodium citrate today to turn some really nice white cheddar into a creamy cheese sauce. So we're starting out with 193 grams of water. That's all based off the fact that I want an 8-ounce stick of the cheese to come through. So these numbers are based off of the 8 ounces of cheese. 193 grams of water, 9 grams of sodium citrate. This stuff's real easy to get a hold of. It's cheap. It's a derivative of citric acid, and essentially what it does is it makes it so that your cheese doesn't separate when it melts. It's like taking any good cheese and turning it into an American processed cheese, but with one simple ingredient. So just bring that to a simmer so that that sodium citrate can dissolve, and then we'll start adding in our cheese. And this always looks really weird at first, throwing cheese into water and expecting something cool to happen. But something cool is gonna happen, I promise. A little bit at a time, whisk it until it's melted, and a little more. So once everything's melted and you start to see the bubbles forming, it's gonna really wanna take off. So we're gonna turn the heat down to like a medium-low. The only other thing I'm gonna add to this is a couple tablespoons of our Jalapeno Vice hot sauce. Really simple here. And then we're just gonna keep this warm until those burgers come off. It's been about 5 minutes on the first side now, so we're gonna give these a flip. So as soon as those release themselves, they're not sticking anymore, they're ready to flip. Go ahead and get our brioche buns toasted off, throw a little butter down. I like this setup because when it comes to toasting bread, it's better to do it slower rather than faster. And with this griddle on the opposite side, it's not way too hot. It's a really nice temperature for toasting. So burgers have come up to about 150 internal now. We're gonna pull these off. Buns are looking really good too. Let's go build these burgers. So first thing we're gonna do is put a little Baconnaise down on the bottom. Then we'll top that off with our Baconnaise slaw. Still got some nice structure to it. Jalapeno cheddar patty on top. Drizzle of that cheese sauce on top. And then just a few more pickled jalapenos right there on top. There it is. Let's check the cross section. Woo! Juicy in there. Let's get a bite. Taste the char of the grill right off the bat. Fantastic flavor in the burger. Catching slight heat from jalapeno. And those little cheese pockets in there are really fun because you hit them one by one instead of all the cheese being melted throughout the meat. Then there's that cheese sauce on top. Oh my gosh. You gotta love being able to take a nice quality white cheddar and turning it into something that you almost don't recognize as cheese because it's just a processed sauce almost, but with very little processing. Flavor's huge. The texture out of that slaw is great, and it's just dripping with that Baconnaise. Fantastic flavor all around. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.